What is that smell? Baby, do you smell that? Mistakes were made. So today, we're gonna share our shame. 5 glorious mistakes that we discovered during our 993-mile inaugural bus trip from Virginia down to Miami. Including, but not limited to, the way we poop. Mistake number 1, the endless, non-stop, constant rattling that goes on inside this damn bus. Let me explain. Now, it should come as no surprise to anybody that buses rattle and move around a whole lot. We knew it. Everything that we have stacked up here, we have bungee cord down. We have packed pieces of paper in. We thought we did really well. Well, no, we didn't. And I think it's just a way of life. But you know, when you're in your suburban home, unless you live in California and the earth is shaking, you don't have this problem that we have. And the bigger problem is you can't see the bumps. Everything that you find in a car, well, we discovered in a larger way in our bus. The biggest problem we've got is the kitchen. Now, as you can see, we've pretty much gutted everything. We're down here in Miami. We drove down 993 miles from Virginia over a course of, 8 or 9 days. We've learned a lot. Like, we should have Tupperware holding our stuff. All of this before was glassware, metalware. Do you know what glass and metal sounds like when you hit a bump at 37 miles an hour? Anyway, we've got, well, it won't rattle, but it will thump. Paper plates, that's a big key. Basically, we're taking everything out, seeing what rattles, what doesn't, trying to put it back together in such a way that A, we can get to it when we need it, and B, it doesn't drive me crazy when I'm up in front of this damn noisy bus, and it will challenge you. I think I'm just going to get a bigger stereo. The second biggest mistake we made is, well, we didn't know how to poop. Now I have to show you what's in... Actually, I can't show you what's in here inside the bus because Nikki will kill me. Let's go outside and I'll explain. Now, we don't have a toilet like you probably have a toilet. No porcelain throne where you sit for a while reading your newspaper and you flush and you're a big whoosh. Things magically disappear. We have a composting toilet, which is essentially a human kitty litter box. What you do is, I'm not going to show you because it's kind of nasty in there right now. Basically, there's a bucket with a toilet seat on it. You do your thing, and then you put this stuff on top of it. It's shavings. It's, I don't know, it's like if you took a plane and just sort of took a piece of plywood and shaved it off. This is what you throw on top of it. Now, the idea is this absorbs all of the wetness in what you threw into the bus. The problem is this stuff gets everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. It goes everywhere except where you want it to go. So the entire bus inside has this stuff all over the carpet, all over the floor, all over you, all over the microphone that you can't see. Now, the other problem is when the bus is shaking, rattling, and rolling, this stuff does manage to come loose and expose. That's probably a story that you don't want to hear. We are going to learn how to experiment with other forms of stuff. Peat moss, I don't know what. We got to find the right media to throw down on top of our Hershey chocolate bars so that A, it doesn't stink anymore, B, it dries out, and C, I don't have to vacuum every 30 seconds. You know what's nice? Sitting in chairs is nice. Having a dinette table's even nicer, but sometimes you don't have those things. Well, we had chairs. We even had something resembling a table, but as you probably noticed, we don't have them anymore. Now, the reason is that we decided, actually it wasn't a we decided, this was more of a one of us decided that they didn't like the chairs anymore. So I'm guessing this little segment of the video is more about, I don't know, relationship management than actual furniture. Okay, here's the deal. The big mistake that we made was we didn't quite think through how we were going to use the space. So we put 2 chairs, we stole them from our trailer that we were living in up in Virginia, and we just sort of slapped them in facing each other, put some seatbelts on them, and decided we were going to take a table and put it in the middle. Well, it didn't work. Yeah, this is where Nikki sits when I'm driving. This is where we were trying to have dinner. It's very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, we took everything out. We're gonna put a futon in. I don't know if that's the right answer. The big mistake we figured out was that we don't know what we don't know. And we're gonna get to, well, what we know after we use this thing for a while. And I don't think 8 days is enough to tell us exactly what we want. And I'm looking over your shoulder because I see mistake 3.5. Apparently my ceiling's falling in. Now our next big mistake was, well, it goes along the lines of rattling, except it's more about projectiles. When you have a sudden stop, things go flying in here. Now, it could be paper towels, which have indeed bonked me in the head a few times. That's not so bad, a little startling. This thing actually hit me in the head one time too. It's the top of our stove. It's made of metal. It hurt a lot. When you're driving and trying to stop suddenly, the last thing in the world you want to do is be hit in the head. So again, it comes back to the same thing. We've got a mobile environment that we're actually living in. If you were pulling a trailer and all of a sudden you got out and went in and went, oh, everything fell around, you'd be pissed off, but it wouldn't really matter that much. Between the sounds of the rattling and things trying to hurt you, don't even get me started on what happens if a light would block me in the head. It's a different lifestyle. It's not something that's so bad. It's just kind of, I'm learning to laugh about it. Now, I didn't laugh when that hit me in the head, but at the same time, so much that goes into building and maintaining a house when everything is mobile. Okay, here's one for you. Water. How can you make a mistake with water, you say, Rick? Well, it's actually pretty easy. Now, we have 100 gallons of water on board. It's sitting under the bed. And we have 40-some gallons of gray water, which is kind of a mismatch, but that's not the biggest mistake. The biggest mistake is, did you know that gray water actually stinks pretty bad? Now, as we're driving, we are getting the smell that I alluded to earlier, and it really does reek in the bus. I thought at first it was the human kitty litter box back there and things being uncovered, but it wasn't that. It was actually this sink. All right, that requires a bit of explanation. And by the way, I have to apologize for something real quick. This. Now, you might have noticed that my long, luxurious locks are magically gone. I went to get a trim. I went to the barber and said, just sort of clean up the ends. Well, these are Cuban barbers. They know how to do fades. They know how to do outlines. They don't know how to cut, as he put it in Spanish, women's hair. So this is what I got. A year's worth of rope just magically lopped off, and I got to pay for the experience. Anyway, we are talking about water. The problem is, in a normal house, you have something called a P-trap, sometimes an S-trap. Water goes in, it collects at the bottom of this big U thing, and that's what keeps the sewer stink from coming back out the hole. Remember, we're talking about a shaking bus. Not only do paper towels hit me in the head, well, it sloshes the water out, allowing everything that's in the gray water tank, well, the smell to come out. Now, you would think it's just dishwater. It's just whatever we happen to spit into the sink in the bathroom. The smell that permeates this bus when we're driving. Now, I've put a newfangled thing in there. Hopefully, it's going to stop the odor. But that's one of the biggest mistakes we've made. You can listen to noise all day long, but once you get that, it's got to be fixed. It really, really has to be fixed. So it sounds like the biggest mistake that we made was actually buying a bus and living in it. But I got to tell you, it's the happiest I've ever been. Those 8, 9, I don't even know how many days it took us to get down here to Miami. It was incredible. We're living in the house right now while we're reconfiguring this damn bus. And I hate it. I hate all the space. I hate living in that house because I want to be here in this bus, in my comfortable little bedroom in the back of a yellow schoolie, cooking on, there's just so much that is bad, but that actually is good. I'm going to love living in this bus, you know, once we get the rattle and the stink and all solved. But yeah, I highly recommend schoolie life. I highly recommend getting out of your suburban existence and just trying something, even if it's just a rental. But yeah, this is going to be good. Can't wait to get back on the road again.